What if I told you that a single word change, just one word, could double your chances of getting what you want from almost anyone? Or that where you look during a conversation determines who holds the power in that room? These aren't manipulation tactics from a spy movie. These are documented psychological patterns that play out in your life every single day. And by the end of this video, you'll never see a conversation, a negotiation, or a first impression the same way again. Let's get into it.
So I went through dozens of behavioral psychology studies and social influence research and pulled out 19 principles that are simple, practical, and genuinely backed by science. Some of these you've probably felt without knowing why. Others are going to make you go, wait, that's what was happening? I've grouped them into themes so they're easier to remember. And stick around for number 19, because that one alone could change how you approach every important moment in your life. All right, let's start with something deceptively simple.
Words. We use them every day without thinking, but the specific words you choose, they literally rewire how people respond to you. Number 1, stop asking, "Can you do this?" Here's what's happening when you say that. You're technically asking a question about someone's ability. Can they, theoretically? Maybe yes, maybe no. And the brain, very conveniently, processes it as optional. Instead, try this. Please send me that by 3 p.m. That's it. Direct, clear, respectful, but unambiguous. Compliance research shows direct requests are fulfilled significantly more often, not because people suddenly become more willing, but because their brain finally registers it as an actual task, not a hypothetical.
Let's get into the social stuff. The awkward, fascinating, deeply human stuff. Number 2, stare at someone's forehead. If you want to make someone subtly uncomfortable during a conversation, don't stare into their eyes. Stare at the center of their forehead. It creates this uncanny feeling, like they're being watched, but they can't quite identify why. I'm not saying use this to be cruel, but if you ever need to establish psychological distance in a conversation, now you know how.
Okay, this next section is my favorite, because this is where things get genuinely uncomfortable, in the best possible way. Number 3, stop talking. Just look at them. Someone gives you a vague answer. They're clearly leaving something out. Most people would push harder, ask follow-up questions, fill the silence. Don't. Just stop and look at them. There's something about being looked at in silence that the human brain genuinely cannot handle. We're social creatures. Silence feels like disapproval, like something is wrong. And so, people talk. They fill it. And what comes out in those next few seconds? Usually the truth. Therapists know this. Detectives know this. Now, you do too. Number 4, ask someone to explain something you already know. You just joined a new team, new environment, new people. You want them to like you, fast. Here's a counterintuitive move. Find someone. Ask them to explain something, even if you already know the answer. Something happens when we teach someone else. We feel competent, valued, useful, and we associate those feelings with the person who made us feel that way. You didn't just learn something, you made them feel good about themselves, and they'll remember you for it.
Number 5, the nod. This one sounds almost too simple, but the data behind it is wild. When you want someone to agree with you, nod slightly as you ask. That's it. In one Cornell University study, restaurant servers who nodded while reading back orders received tips 23% higher than those who didn't. 23%. The brain interprets mirrored physical cues as emotional alignment. When you nod, you're not manipulating someone, you're creating a subconscious sense of shared understanding.
Use it carefully, because it works.
Let's talk about influence and negotiation and getting what you actually want. Number 7, tell them you don't think they can do it. I know, that sounds counterproductive, but here's what happens inside the human brain when someone doubts your capability. It triggers something psychologists call reactance, a motivational state where we instinctively resist feeling controlled or underestimated. The brain has a deep drive to prove its own competence, and it will go surprisingly far to do it. Parents use this on kids, coaches use this on athletes, great managers use this on teams. Most of them don't even know why it works. Now you do. Number 8, the power of actually listening. When someone is talking to you, nod slowly, consistently, not like a bobblehead, just present, engaged. Here's what's fascinating about the side effect. People unconsciously give more weight to whatever you say next because you've just established yourself as someone who genuinely listens. In a world full of distracted, half-present conversations, that is genuinely rare, and rare things get remembered.
Number 9, this face in a negotiation is worth thousands of dollars. Someone makes you an offer, salary, price, contract terms, and honestly, it's not terrible, but you want better. Here's what most people do. They counter immediately. They start talking, negotiating with words. Don't. Instead, let a brief, quiet expression of disappointment cross your face. Not anger, not offense, just quietly let down. Like you expected more. That's it. And what's wild? The other person's brain immediately starts second-guessing their own offer. Studies show this single nonverbal signal can shift an opening offer by 10 to 15% before you say a single word.
Number 10, yell at your alarm clock. Okay, not literally, but close. The moment your alarm goes off, before you check your phone, before you think about your day, sit up and say, "Let's go." It sounds ridiculous, I know, but here's what's happening. That sudden physical movement, combined with a positive verbal cue, interrupts the inertia your body wants to stay in. Athletes use pre-performance rituals for the same reason. Your morning sets the emotional tone for everything that follows. Own the first 30 seconds and you own the day. Okay, this next section is about your own brain and how to hack it from the inside. Number 11, say something ridiculous every time you lock the door. You know that feeling? You're already 10 minutes away from home and you suddenly can't remember, did I lock the door? Here's why that happens. Routine actions run on autopilot. Your brain doesn't bother creating a distinct memory for something it's done 1,000 times. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. Next time you lock the door, say something completely random out loud. Purple elephant. Your hippocampus, the part of your brain that handles memory encoding, immediately flags that moment as unusual, worth storing. Next time you can't remember if you locked the door, you'll remember the purple elephant, and you'll know you did it. Number 12, kill drama with kindness. Someone is trying to pull you into conflict. They want a reaction. They're poking. Most people either fight back or retreat. Try a third option. Say something genuinely kind, or say nothing at all. Here's the psychology. Conflict requires two opposing forces. The moment you remove yours, the aggressor loses all leverage. There is nothing more disarming to someone who wants a reaction than getting absolutely zero. Stoics called it the art of the non-response. Modern psychologists call it emotional regulation. Either way, it ends the game before it starts. Number 13, the magic word for lazy teammates. You've got someone on your team. They've been putting off a task for 3 days. You've already said, just do it twice. don't say it again. Instead, say this: hey, just start with this one part. That's it. Start. See, there's this fascinating phenomenon in psychology called the Zeigarnik effect. Our brains create genuine mental tension around unfinished tasks. Once someone begins something, that tension actually drives them to complete it. The hardest part is always the first step. Remove that friction, and the rest tends to follow.
Number 14, bring water to every presentation, every speech, every high-stakes conversation. This isn't just a comfort prop, it's a strategic pause mechanism. Taking a sip gives you 3 to 5 seconds of completely socially acceptable silence. In those seconds, your breathing resets, your cortisol drops, your thoughts reorganize. Watch any major press conference, any political debate, any TED Talk. The pause before a hard question almost always involves reaching for a glass. They're not thirsty, they're resetting.
Number 16, your anxiety is contagious, and so is your calm. If you feel anxious every time you're around a certain person, here's something worth knowing. Over time, they start feeling anxious every time they see you. Emotional states transfer between people through a process called emotional contagion. We unconsciously mirror the nervous system of the people around us. Which means, if you become someone who is genuinely calm, grounded, and unshakable, people around you start to feel that way too. You become the kind of person people want to be around. Number 17, stop attacking people, even when they're wrong. Someone on your team made a mistake. You want to address it. Most people go straight to, "You left the window open all night." And what happens? They get defensive. They make excuses. Nothing actually changes. Try this instead. "Hey, the window was open all night." Passive construction, no accusation. Same information, completely different impact. Research on feedback psychology shows people correct behavior far more readily when they don't feel their character is under attack. You're not letting them off the hook, you're just being strategically kind.
All right, 2 left. And these 2 are the ones I want you to actually use this week.
Number 18, lie to yourself about your sleep. Seriously. This one genuinely surprised me when I first read the research. Telling yourself you slept well, even when you didn't, actually improves your cognitive performance. A study in the Journal of Experimental Psychology found that participants who were told they had above-average sleep quality performed significantly better on memory and attention tests, regardless of how they actually slept. They called it placebo sleep. And what it shows us is this: your brain's performance isn't just shaped by biology, it's shaped by what you believe about yourself. That's either deeply comforting or slightly terrifying. Probably both.
Now, number 19. I saved this one for last, on purpose. Think about the last 5 people you met at a party or a work event. You probably remember the first person you spoke to and whoever you talked to right before you left. Everyone in the middle? Kind of a blur. That's not a flaw in your memory. That's just how human memory is built. Psychologists call it the serial position effect, documented over a century ago by Hermann Ebbinghaus. And once you know it exists, you start seeing it everywhere. Job interviews, presentations, first dates, sales calls. The people who get remembered aren't always the most impressive in the room. They're just the ones who understood timing. So here's what I want you to do. Next time you have an important interview, request the first slot or the last. Next time you present an idea, put your strongest point at the beginning or save it for the very end. Never bury the thing that matters most somewhere in the middle, because the middle is where things go to be forgotten. These 19 principles all point to the same truth.
human behavior is far more predictable than we think. We respond to patterns, to framing, to timing, to silence. Understanding this doesn't make you a manipulator. It makes you someone who communicates more effectively, negotiates more confidently, and reads situations more clearly. If you want to go deeper on any of these, drop it in the comments below. And if this video was useful, you're going to want to watch the next one, because we're going deeper into the psychology of why people make the decisions they do and how most of us have been thinking about it completely wrong. I'll see you there.